Welcome to Obsidian TTRPGtutorials.com. Let's learn how to use the tool. Alright, g'day guys, and welcome back today to another Obsidian video. Today we're going to make a video for the Patreon specifically. We're going to dive into the Patreon vault that is provided to all of my members. For anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, all of my tutorial content is available for free for anyone to use, but I do have a Patreon because people kept asking me for a way to say thank you. Over the years that sort of matured into something, and we now have a Patreon vault available for people, and it's basically a foundational vault. Now if you'd like to get your hands on this vault, what you can do is jump over to my Patreon. It's just Plunkett, and you can see here that for the price of less than a coffee a month, you can come in here and basically get your Patreon membership up to date, and then from there what you can do is you get access to the Patreon vault. Alright, so here is the Patreon vault, and the links to this all get messaged to you automatically when you join up. And there's links to the Patreon vault so that you can download it, so that you can get started, and you can jump straight into using this tool yourself. Now, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go through the process of downloading this vault, showing you how to use it, and giving you a bit of a tour on what it can do, and then talking a little bit to how we might use it in the future to get your own games up and running. Alright, so I've already downloaded it. It's in here, and if I go inside this, you can see that the zip file, you can see that I've got a folder. Alright, and this is the folder that contains my vault. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that somewhere, and I'm going to put it into my Obsidian folder, and I'm basically going to drag this vault folder over into wherever I want to put it. Alright, I can put this folder anywhere. Alright, so we have the folder. I'm going to rename it now to whatever I want. Call it my new vault, and then inside of that you can see all of the folders that are going to make up our vault structure. Alright, from there what we're actually going to do is we're going to jump back over to Obsidian. Alright, if you don't have this window available yourself, you can come into an existing vault and click the open another vault down here, and what that will do is open this window, and then from there we can go open folder as vault. If anyone shares a vault with you, like, this is how you open it. Click open, and if we actually come in here and we have a look at the folder, we can see my new vault. We select it and we click select folder. That will open up the new Obsidian vault, and we need to click this button that says trust author and enable plugins. This comes with all of the plugins already enabled for you. Alright, here we go. It has basically now loaded that vault. Alright, we're going to get rid of all that. It's loaded that vault up, and from here it's basically turned everything on. You can see that it's got themes installed. Alright, it's got plugins installed, and it's kind of ready for us to set up. Alright, so let's jump in and see how we update this vault. Okay, so the very first thing I'm going to do when I download this vault is actually come down here to settings, and we're going to come to community plugins, and we're going to check for updates. Now, if you're new to Obsidian, this is something we do fairly regularly. Alright, I tend to do this once a day when I'm sitting down in front of Obsidian. Like if I'm going to sit down for the night, I'm going to update my plugins first. Keeping in mind that plugins are developed by the community. Alright, so they're always getting updated. There are plugins that get updated almost every day, and it's always a good idea to go through and check that your plugins have been updated. And you can see up in here on the right that everything is updating. Alright, and then once it's done, it'll pop up and say all of your plugins have now been successfully updated. So do that. The first thing you should do with this vault is do that, because basically the plugins will be updated to the point where I last saved this and made it available for you all. So it's always an opportunity for you to come in and check that. Now, while that is happening in the background, another place we need to actually update is under appearance. Looks like we're almost there. I'm going to go check for updates. It's got one update. Alright, I've got the ITS theme installed. Alright, the ITS theme is designed specifically for the TTRPG crowd. It's got some TTRPG themes built into it, so that's why we use it. Alright, we've now updated the theme. We've now updated all of the plugins. I will generally come up here to General and check for updates as well, just to see if there's a new version of Obsidian available. I'm an insider member, which means I've paid to get access to the beta versions. So sometimes I get updates in here that you guys might not get, and I'll need to be careful about not making sure you get copies of those. Alright, so outside of that, we now have the plugins updated, the appearance updated, and we've checked the version has been updated. If we scroll down here, we can see these are the plugins that I've got installed for you. Alright, you can go through and have a look at that, but the first thing you may want to do is come down here to Style Settings, expand out the ITS theme settings, alright, and expand out the alternate color schemes. Now I've got it on blue here, and the reason I've got it in blue is because I have a different theme for all of my vaults, and I wanted a way to differentiate it. But you can come through here and you can change these around, pick one potentially that you like. You can see there's a number of generic ones here that are designed to give you a different look and feel. But here under the TTRPG category is the ones people are probably looking for. You've got SlurVB's D&D theme, alright, it's got some nice fonts going on. The Wizards of the Coast Beyond, which most people will see in my videos from other times. Sorry, someone's playing with the lights. We can see here that there's the Pathfinder one as well. I do really like the Pathfinder one, and the Wizards of the Coast Beyond one I use quite often as well. So come through here, pick whichever one you like, and then from there what you can do as well is come back, go to Settings and Appearance, and you can change to Dark Mode if you like. I know there's a large number of you who think Dark Mode is like superior to Light Mode. I know it's a theory, right? It's your opinion. It's not necessarily accurate. Anyway, let's jump in and let's have a look. Now, what have we got going on here? If we go back to the Files icon, you can see that we've got the Vault structure. Alright, so what I've done is I've created folders in here for you, alright, so that you can get some ideas on how to actually replicate your Vault and manage it. And you can see that I've got sort of some ideas going on. Alright, Obsidian TTRPG tutorial is literally here as a readme. It's here to introduce you to the Vault and get you some ideas on what you can do with it. Feel free to delete that once you've read through it. You do not need it. Okay, Scratch Notes. Scratch Notes is a folder where I put all the things that I don't really care about. Alright, it's very common for me to come along and go, I need a new note to test something, and then I'm going to paste whatever it is that I'm testing into this note. Maybe I'm testing a new stat block, or maybe I'm testing a new plugin. I like to have a folder where I can quickly do things. Something else I might do is I might come along and actually say, I actually need a link to a town, a rule, alright, something that I've used before. And what I'll do is I'll just quickly make a note. Instead of using the search, because I don't really like the search, it brings up too many results, I can use the name to bring that up very quickly, and that generally allows me to have all of that working and functional. Alright, so that's where I put those things, and I can delete them, and it just makes me happy that I can do that. Alright, you can see I've actually put in a test here, which I don't necessarily need. Alright, so that's Scratch Notes. That's obviously easy to use. Below that is the DM Toolkit. Now, the DM Toolkit is a folder where I've put some things that I think are useful that you might be able to use as well. Okay, so if we come in here, you can see we've got the DM board. This is actually linked up with some data view, and it's feeding from the party folder, which is a folder where you put your party notes. So you can see that their player names are feeding through, the passive perception, we can set the AC to come through. But you can see I'm also using MetaBind to have some buttons, and the buttons can be used to trigger templates. And I've also got a data view query down here that actually reads all of the player notes and makes a unique list of the known languages that those people in the party know. That's really handy, I find. I don't need to go through 6 sheets and figure out which ones they all know. I just get a unique list. Now what I've done with this is I've just dragged it over here, okay? Dragged it in, and then I've basically right-clicked and I've pinned this note. Now, the reason why I've done that is if it's pinned, alright, it opens up over here. If it's not pinned, it opens up over here. Now, that's obviously not as useful, alright? You don't want the notes over here opening over here usually. So right-click, pin, and then that will open in the middle. And that means that what you can do is you create these really useful sidebars. Okay, it's like having your own app or your own plugin that you've enabled over here, and I just like to have all the information. So you can come along. You can basically have data view queries. You can have buttons. You can have all sorts of stuff. And you can see I've got another option here. This one has been customized for D&D 5e, so you can see it's got some of the rules in here. And this is my side view DM screen effectively. Now, the links in here are currently broken, okay? This is designed to be used with the CLI tool. Now, if you don't know what the CLI tool is, imagine a world where you can get all of the notes you need for all of the content you own very quickly. Very, very, very quickly. All right. I do recommend that you jump over here to the Obsidian TTRPG tutorial section. And I think, did I put a README in here somewhere? Oh, I can't remember where I put it. It's probably actually in the CLI folder under mechanics. Here we go. So there's links in the CLI folder to where you can find the process for the CLI. I do recommend that you go ahead and you follow that in order to create all of your notes, and probably do it as one of the first things you do. This way you can get all your spells, get all your monsters, bring in adventures if you want, books that you might own. All right, and you can bring it all in and you can test it. Now, I've had a few people reach out and say to me, hey Josh, some of these links aren't working. What I've found is that people are using the from field and they're filling in these books here. And you can see I've provided the 3 basic 5e books that are required to make this work. But those are also required down here in the book section because I'm actually linking to some of the book notes instead. All right, and if we come along and we have a look at the DM side screen, all right, we put that into source mode, you can actually see what they're linking to. And this is where it'll start to make a bit more sense. When you download one of the books, you'll see chapter 8 using ability scores. Within that note, there's a heading called dexterity. There's another one called strength. All right. So instead of having unique notes for all of the abilities, I'm linking to sections within that book and I'm bringing that in like that. All right. So it's just a way to have cleaner notes. But yeah, this is all designed to obviously link to the 5e stuff. So, go ahead, follow that process and it should be able to set you up. And assuming that is done, you should literally be able to drop those notes into the folder. Now let's just talk about that quickly. When you run the CLI process, here under 3-mechanics, CLI folder, this is where I've designed for you to drop those notes, okay? You drop those notes in here and this stuff should start working. Now, obviously I've designed this specifically for 5e, given it's the most popular system, but you could do this for any system, guys. We've got Pathfinder notes that are available. You just have to basically customize this, all right? And just to show you how you could do that, it's just a note, all right? You can expand this out just like this. You can put this into live preview mode. Have I got that in the, I've got that in the wrong mode. All right, you can put this into, we're in a source mode currently. You can come in here and you can basically, delete these. You can add links to your own things, all right? So whatever system you add, you can come in here and you can just modify this and it's relatively easy to use. Same here with the table. It's just a table. Now, I'm just gonna check this. We're in live preview mode, yep. I'll come out of source mode, we'll come into live preview mode just so that the new tables works. All right, because obviously you can click in here and you can modify these however you like. All right, so that's the side screen. I do have another version of this, which is obviously the horizontal version. I just want to call out though that I don't use this anymore. I do really prefer the sidebar method, but I've included it in case anyone wants it. All right, next we have a home note. Now the home note actually comes up when you press the plus key. All right, it'll take you straight back to that home. It is designed to be used in reading mode. All right. And you can see here I've got some links up the top that take me to different places of the vault. We've got a lot of data view on this page. So we've got one that's pulling from the players. All right, we've got one that's pulling from the session journals. If we come down here, you can see I've got some recently modified notes. The idea of this being that if you created 10 NPCs before your session, you're actually going to see the last 10 NPCs that you've made in here. So it might be a quick way for you to actually go, oh, I know where the link to that node is, I can find that. I did the same with locations, all right? Chances are, before a session, you're going to modify the last location you're going to be playing in. So that could be useful. Down here, we've just got recently modified notes as well. So that's just a different version of that. And then, yeah, I've also included a journey board. For anyone who hasn't seen my journey boards, I like to use Excalidraw over Obsidian Publish. Oh, sorry, Obsidian. It's not even coming to me. Obsidian Canvas. I've done extensive testing, guys. Excalidraw is much quicker than Canvas. Much quicker, like visibly quicker. So you can come in here and you can use this. Excalidraw can also be published to your publish sites, by the way. So watch this space. I've got a video on that coming in the near future. And we've got the travel calculator in here. All right. Now the travel calculator is designed for 5e in this version. We do have other versions on the website, so you can come along to obsidianttRPGtutorials.com. Type in travel calculator. I think we've actually got a Pathfinder one in there. Looks like we're getting a few errors, but I think that's actually due to Metabind having a bit of a heart attack. If I put it into reading mode, it's fine. So it's just teething issues. A refresh of the note usually kicks you back straight. But yeah, so they're all included, right? And I've pinned those so that they're there, they're ready for you to use. Just to give you some ideas of what can be done as well, so that you can go in and obviously play with those. Now, I was in the process as well of adding some charts view stuff to our folders. So I'm going to go ahead and add that probably to the home board, so you guys can have this in your vault as well and get a bit of a visual graph on what type of notes you're making. It's probably not useful information, but you know, someone might find it interesting. All right, so that's the DM toolkit. All right, feel free to add whatever you like to it. I'm most likely going to continue adding things to that, just as little snippets of information that you guys can use. And you can drag the ones you like up here. You can tinker with them, tailor them. They don't have to be dragged up here. All right, you can drag them over to the right if you want, you know, or you can drag them down into sections like this. You know, like just so you're aware. Let's use the side screen. If we drag this down here, all right, there's docking sections all over Obsidian for you to actually dock different notes into. All right, so it's up to you where you do that. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Let's shut that one down. All right, so then we go to the party folder. The party folder is where I've designed for you to have a note per party member. And you can see I've got my friends Bob and Fred. They've already got notes in here. Obviously, I do recommend that you go through and set these up however you like, but this is where it's designed to make. Now, if you come into my DM board, all right, you can see that we do have buttons here. We've got a button for a new player, so we can make Wilma. All right, and Wilma, when we do that, will automatically obviously come and open for us. But if we have a look over here, we can see that Wilma is actually inside of the party folder. Now, you can make another subfolder for parties if you've got multiple parties, and that's what I've done here with the example party. Or you can just leave them under the party folder, up to you. And you can, of course, change this template. All right. The template is triggering from down here under Z templates. And if we open up the template player, we can see this is where it's actually been modified. Now, I've had a few questions about this as well, okay? Because a lot of people are playing with these buttons, like probably making new buttons maybe to do what they like. All right, so let's just quickly have a look at that. We're going to just check this out and see what that looks like. All right, so here's the DM board. If we go into source mode, you can see that we're using Metabind for a button. All right, we have a label for that button. The button is not hidden. All right, we can change the button type. Now what that means is, I think there's a secondary and there's a primary. Oh, maybe I got that wrong. I need to look that up and check the actual check the actual syntax. But yeah, it changes the color, basically. You can have staggered button colors if you like. But then we've got an action, and here what we're doing is we're calling a templater create note. All right, so it's calling the templater plugin. It's pointing to the template. All right, so if you want to create a button that does something else, copy this section further into your note, update the label, update the template name, and you can see that's pointing down here to one of these templates. All right, and then you tell it what you want that file to be called. All right, so we're going to call that new journal. Now, if we have a look at the new PC, this is the one we were just playing with, right? So this is the, new player. This is the one we were playing with. All right, so new player is the button name. It's pointing to template player, and it's creating it with the name new player. And if we have a look in template player, we can see here that obviously we're setting the properties of that note, so you can change this however you like. You know, I've obviously got examples in there. You can delete that if you want. Then we've got some templater script, all right? And what it's doing is it's moving it into the one-party folder. I do recommend you leave it with a dash instead of a dot. The one is designed to sort the folders numerically, but a dot doesn't work very nicely with some of the plugins. So always use a one dash, not a one dot folder name. All right, then it's bringing in the folder name, so it's putting it in here. And what it's doing is it's saying trigger this text if the note is called new player. So that's why it's important that we define the folder, the file name in the button as new player, so that when it triggers, it can pick this up. And what it's doing is it's then prompting the user saying, please enter the player name. All right, and it's allowing you to type that name in so you can then change that name to whatever you want. Okay, so let's have a look at the character sheet in a bit more detail. All right, so we've got the template here, but let's jump over to a character that's actually been used with this, and we'll put it into the reading mode so you can see what it looks like. Here we can see we've got some properties for the players. All right, now effectively, this is just areas where I keep some primary details about the player so that I can use it in data view queries. And you can see down here that this is a table that's actually using data view. All right, that's the equals this dot level to draw in some information about that character. I don't actually need this, if I'm completely honest. I don't use it anymore. I was playing around and learning how to use data view, so that's what that was for. But some of this information, like this stuff up here, level, HP, AC, and modifier, that's actually a bit more important. And what I actually have is I have the players set up inside our initiative tracker. Now if we come to settings, come down to initiative tracker, come down to players, you'll need to set your players up in here as well if you're going to use the plugin. All right, so you click plus, you type the note name, and then that will actually auto-populate with the information from your note, assuming you have those fields set up. All right, once you've done that, you can then basically have a party where you assign those people to your party, set your default party, and then once you've done that, that makes them available in the initiative tracker, and any combat that you kick off will actually load up inside of this plugin. There's no monsters installed in this vault, so that's why this isn't working. But yeah, that's what that information is there for. If we come down here though, this is kind of the important thing for me. All right, character sheets. Now, I hear a lot of conversation and a lot of requests for character sheets in Obsidian, and I'll be the first person usually to say, I don't recommend them. Character sheets are complex pieces of coding, guys, with thousands of options and choices that all adjust all of the calculations as you're going. They're not as easy as they sound. Now, if you're a player and you just want to keep track of your character sheet in Obsidian, then I say go for your life, that might work. All right, you can adjust information on the screen and lay it out in a way that looks like a character sheet. You could probably use Canvas or Excalidraw to do that. You could link in some back-end notes. But I think conceptually, if you're updating the character sheet manually, all right, like actually typing those values into fields and doing all the maths yourself in your head and just using Obsidian to keep track of it, I think that could work, right? It's just, you know, something that you would manage. But if you're a dungeon master trying to keep track of full character sheets for 5 players in Obsidian, I think you're wasting your time. Now, the reason why I think you're wasting your time is Time is money, guys, and honestly, the cost of a book on a service like Demiplane or D&D Beyond is a lot less, in my opinion, than the effort that you will spend making a character sheet solution in the tool. And I'm seeing people who are trying, and they are making some fantastic steps, but in speaking to them, they're also struggling, right? Because they're hitting detail where, you know, the character sheets go off on a tangent in a different mathematical direction, and it's becoming very complex for them to keep track of that stuff, and it's making it very hard. It's increasing the amount of notes that they need to do it, and overall it's just a very complex solution that ultimately means that they're spending more time creating that character sheet than they are using that character sheet. And I personally feel that that's a problem. Alright, so we have Demiplane. Demiplane just works. Alright, my characters can access it. When they access it, it updates in here. I can come down to show you though that this isn't just about Pathfinder. Alright, Demiplane is releasing support for lots of games for digital character sheets. They've already got 5 available. I think they're working on the Alien one now. I believe Candelabra, Obscura, Avatar, Pathfinder, Multiverse, and Vampire, they're all released and have them. I don't know about Hunter. I think they actually might be on the way. 5th edition support for third-party content is on the way. They got the new Starfinder. Alright, if you need character sheets for those games, it's got you. If you're playing D&D 5th edition though, official, then you can obviously use D&D Beyond, and that comes over and gives you access to your character sheets inside of your notes as well. Alright, that is just a lot easier, guys. Instead of me messing around, I just open up my wallet, pay for a book, and use it on this service. You don't need a subscription to make this work, alright? You just need to make your character sheet using the tool, using the content that you've purchased, and off you go. Alright, so let's just have a quick look at how this works so you can understand how to change it yourself. In the bottom of these notes is this custom frames. Alright, it's got a name and it's just defining the height. And all you need to do is go down to settings, come down to custom frames, and you can see here that I've got 2 options that are currently being used in these notes. There's the D&D Beyond character and the Demiplane character. If you click show settings, you can see you set a name. And what I usually go is I go Demiplane _ character name so I can see clearly which one's set up for who. And then all you do is you paste the link. Alright? If you go to Demiplane or D&D Beyond, you'll find that usually those sites have a share link that you can click. I think if we come down to here, it's actually a bit out of screen, but because I'm in an iframe. If you did it on the website, but there's shareable links, you grab those links, you paste those into that setting inside of your custom frames plugin, and then all you need to do is replicate that name there after the frame section, and that tells the tool to go and log this website in. Now, this isn't just for Demiplane or D&D Beyond, guys. Like, you can use this for any website, of course. So, anyway, that's how I do character sheets. Alright, session journals. Very similar to what we just went through. Alright, so I have a session journal here. And you can modify this however you like. Alright, you can come down here to the session template journal, and you can modify this to have whatever template you find more useful for your games. I like to keep it simple. Alright, if I go too complex with my templates, I fall into a trap where I do not fill them in. Alright, so I've gone very simple. I keep track of who comes to my games and who doesn't. Alright, and then I have a session overview. Alright, very simple, very easy, designed for basically my brain. Alright, where I'm at the end of the game, I'm tired, I'm wanting to go to bed, so I'm quickly writing up my session journals. I don't have lots of complexity. Alright, it's very, very simple. Alright, so they will feed through to the session journals folder. And of course, once you are updating those session journals, they will start to feed through here as well. Alright, if we come back down now, we've got the world folder. The world folder is where I put my location notes. Alright, I like to have a folder for the world that we're playing in. Alright, so if we're playing in the Forgotten Realms, I'll have a folder for FR or Faerun or Forgotten Realms. And then inside there, I generally have a folder per city or a folder per dungeon. Like a large scale area will have a folder. And what I like to do is turn that into a folder note. Now you can use folder notes in this vault. You just control click the folder. Alright, that will turn into a folder note. And you can see here that I've got an example map. It's one that I actually made myself back in 2018. It was just a small map that I can freely distribute for you guys to understand how this works. And you can see I've got some example linking on this map. All right, and what I'm doing is I've got a folder underneath my region map with the areas. All right, so in this case, Creeper's Cave is over here. All right, Creeper's Cave is again a folder note. I can expand that out if I want more notes in there. And then what I do inside of Creeper's Cave is I have all the headings for each room in that dungeon. And then what I've done in here is I've linked these to those sections. And the way you do that is you do the note name, hashtag, title name, or heading name. All right, and that works really well. The font on this map always does me in because I changed it to a custom font and then we published it and it just reset. It doesn't look anywhere near as good as it did when I first made it. But yeah, this is, again, some maps that I've made, free for you to play with. If you want to try and use my maps in your world, go for your life. There's a few little dungeons here. And, one day I might get around to actually filling these in and turning these into content. And, that might be of interest to you. But basically, this is designed to show you how to create things. And again, there's a button here for a new location. Any notes that you create in there will automatically go into this folder. And then from there, you can then move those notes around within that folder in order to figure out where you want them to go. All right, mechanics. We touched on the CLI at the start. If you're playing 5e, you definitely want to look at the CLI notes, okay? Sit down, watch those videos. They are long, all right, but if you are looking to get your 5e notes into the tool, the CLI tool for 5e is the way to go. If you're playing Pathfinder 2nd Edition, we're hosting the notes that we're allowed to host on GitHub. We are heading in the direction of using Foundry as a way to get our data. And a Foundry license is, I think, about $50. But the benefit of Foundry is that they're creating the adventures for Foundry. And what that means is you can actually export from Foundry potentially into Obsidian. We're playing with that idea currently, where you can take the monsters and export them out. For anyone who's familiar with Pathfinder, what I'm finding is they don't always use the monsters that are freely available. They use custom versions of those monsters, and the tools that are freely available and all the data that's freely available doesn't necessarily have that exact stat block. So for me, being able to export from Foundry into Obsidian is a really fantastic way to quickly get those adventures in. But anyway, what you want to do for any other systems other than 5e is head along over to, obviously, the Discord, all right? And that will allow you to basically come in, find out if we've got content for you, because we're releasing what we're legally allowed to release. And then from there, you can obviously use that. Now, just speaking about that, all right, the Discord. Something that you may have noticed over here is that we have an icon for something called Helpmate. Here, under the bookmark, you can see that we've got an option for Obsidian TTRPGtutorials.com. This is my website. It's available to you inside of this tool using the Helpmate plugin. So you can, potentially come in here, come to community and support, all right, and then you can come through to the Obsidian TTRPG Discord channel if you're not already a member. And just to call out that I did update the Getting Started section. And what I've done is I've added in all of these little GIF files that show you how to make notes or elements that go into a note. All right, so it's how to make headings, how to bold text, how to insert images. It's simple stuff, but it's designed to get brand new users up and running very quickly. All right, let's keep going. We have the mechanics folder. Then we have guilds and groups. All right, and you'll see here that I've actually got a button for a new guild or group. That goes into that folder. Again, if you want to change these templates, just come down here and modify these however you like. We've got items, we've got NPCs. Now, when you bring the CLI stuff in, just a heads up, there will be its own folders for items, its own folders for groups, its own folders for monsters. Just a reminder that the CLI folder has a lock on it because it's designed as a place to put those notes where they should be considered read-only. You don't touch them, okay? Watch the CLI videos, you'll start to understand why. All right, then we have the assets folder. This is where any images that are pasted into this vault will go. And then we have the templates folder. And I do recommend you go through and you have a look at the templates because there is a lot for you to learn in there. All right, while we're on templates, let's have a look here. So if we press Alt-T, the template list will come up. I've got some callouts here. All right, so if you want some treasure callouts, if you want to read aloud callout, maybe we want a right section. All right, this is the ITS theme. All right, so that adds those wiki style ones, just like there's a left section. All right, so you can add these to your notes. Now, you can see here that this isn't actually working. It's because I am in live preview mode. I'm trying to use live preview mode now. I'm kind of moving away from using these a little bit, but we'll see how we go. Other things in here, you can insert a monster. All right, insert monster, and then you can just change the name. All right, and that will render in there for you. You can add an encounter. Insert custom encounter. All right, and you can then modify the names of the monsters in there, and that will create an encounter folder. All right, this is all under Alt-T. We've got timelines if you want to add the timelines. What else do we have? There's all of the stuff in here for maps. If you just type in map, you can actually insert the map code. All right, this is not actually available. I might actually change that so it's actually got a map in here. We should just do that. There we go. What's this? We're going to copy the name. There we go. We'll update this right now so that your next time this actually gets triggered, it will just include this as well. And it didn't work. Oh, the dimensions are wrong. I'll go and fix that up so that you can use that, obviously, template just to add that directly into your notes. And then, yeah, it's designed to obviously make things easier for you. Embedded website, that's an option here that I've added as well. All right, you can see that adds the map calculator. I'm getting to a point now where I've got too many things on the screen, which is why it's starting to freak out. But yeah, press your Alt-T, go through and have a look. Geez, I wonder if that's even working. Probably not. Oh no, that's templater. Let's test that. So I've got some weather generation stuff in here, and I think yeah, no, that's not currently working. I'll go through and get that working. That's the weather template. One of the community members made that a while ago. Haven't seen it really used, but I'll make sure it works. Why not? All right. Chart examples. There's all sorts of stuff in here, guys. And if you just go through and have a look at the templates folders, you might be able to learn a fair bit, right? Because the way I use templates is I don't necessarily use them to create entire notes. I use them to add components to notes, all right? Things that I don't want to remember how to do, all right? That's why I've got call-out boxes and all that sort of stuff. So go through, have a look, and then you can use that Alt-T to trigger them and add them into your notes, and it should save you a lot of time. All right, let's just go through and have a quick look over here. Advanced tables is installed, but you probably don't need that anymore. You've got the dice tray, so dice roller is enabled, and you've got initiative tracker is there as well. So it comes with all the TTRPG sort of plugins and tutorials, and it's designed to get you up and running pretty quickly. Now, how would you use this yourself? Well, obviously, I would probably start by having a look at the templates. Are you happy with them? Make any modifications you want. You might want to adjust the folder structure a little bit, but just a reminder that if you do modify the folder structure, you're probably going to see a bunch of issues, all right, because you can see that there's links going on here, all right, there's here's a folder, for example. There's expectations in the data view queries to say this is the folder to look at, all right? So if you change the names, you are going to break some things. and you'll need to come in here and you'll need to update these to whatever the name is that you changed, as an example. Okay, something that you might like to change is these 4 main buttons that appear on the actual home tab. I like to use these as sort of like my key central buttons to get where I need to go. You can see I've got the map, which is, you know, whatever the map of your world is, you can put that in there. I've got a link here to my journey board. I've got a link usually to the module that I'm running, and I've got a link to my party. Now, these are special links. If you click them, you will notice it actually takes you through to that content. All right, so that works pretty well. So if we go into edit mode, and you can actually come in here, you can paste in your own images to replace what I've got. You can see I've just got the S-band H-tiny CTR on the back of it. That's just the ITS theme image adjustments that's going on there. And then in the brackets at the back, I've actually got the note name that I'm linking to. If you've got a space in your name, I can see that I've got a %20. That's the a character that the computer uses to identify a space. So you can obviously put that in there. And then, yeah, you can come through and obviously set your links up however you like. I obviously recommend that you set them up to whatever you need. You know, if you're running a module, maybe set it up to the chapter of the module that you're running. Or if you're running a homebrew, maybe set it up to the area where you're currently taking your notes for your next homebrew session, so you can quickly come in, press plus, press your button, and go through to the notes that you need to run your session. All right, so there is a lot going on here, and as with anything, you can come in here and you can have a look at all the things that have been installed. You can read the readmes for these plugins and learn how to do them. But this is really just designed to get you started, to see how it all works together. Some people just like to see how part A works with part B and what it all looks like together, and they take that and they learn it and they hack it apart. And then, yeah, play with it, see what you can do. Come along to the Discord and show me what you do. I'd love to see your guys' notes where you guys make amazing things. I find that really cool. So, anyway, guys, this has been the Patreon Vault. Hopefully this is useful for you. If you have ideas for things you would like me to add or change to this vault, please let me know. All right, I'm very open to ideas with this. Eventually I would like it just to have a collection of notes, for example, that are more complex in formatting, just as examples for people to come along and say, hey, that's cool. If the community is making cool things, I can add them in here. So like people are making character sheet examples currently, we can add those notes into here. So you guys can just drag in what you want and use what you want and then delete the things that you don't like. All right, but anyway, hopefully that's been useful. If you are a patron, I want to say a massive, huge shout out and thanks to you, because obviously I really appreciate your support. You're keeping me enthused just to keep doing cool things. If you're not a patron and you're watching this video going, I want this, jump along to my Patreon. I think it's $3 a month, all right? And you get access to this. Sign up for a month and then cancel if you just want access to the vault, right? No skin off my back. But, it's available here for you guys to try and help you see how you put it together and get you started and running quicker. Outside of that, if you do enjoy my content, please do like and subscribe. And certainly the advertisement agencies enjoy it. And outside of that, I will speak to you in the Discord, guys. That's the place to find me if you need my help. Jump into the Discord and jump into the tavern and have a chat, right? Like there's a few of us always hanging in there. The things you can learn just from talking to each other is absolutely amazing. Outside of that, have a great day. I will speak to you on the socials. Bye.